Now we're going to talk about Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act of 2010. It's a major health care reform legislation that provided incentives for businesses to provide health care benefits, prohibiting denial of coverage and denial of claims based on pre-existing conditions while establishing health care exchanges. One of its most controversial aspects is forcing people to obtain coverage. That basically means the government is forcing you to buy a product, which is completely unconstitutional, by the way. The Constitution never said that the government can force you to buy something that you don't want to buy. So Obamacare sought to make sure that everybody in America had coverage. And if everybody had coverage, then the rates should go down. Barack Obama promised that it would decrease the cost of health care. It actually tripled the cost of health care because of the way it was set up. A couple of things here. Insurance, the way insurance works, okay? You pay a sum of money every month in case something happens, and then you get covered by your insurance. The more people paying into the system, the less risk it is for the insurance company to have an individual on the insurance roll. So the prices should go down. But where Obamacare went wrong was that he mandated that everybody in the country be on insurance, and he said that if you don't be on insurance, the only penalty is a $500 fine per year. Okay? Now guys, I pay $700 a month for my family's insurance. So the way Barack Obama's healthcare was set up, you could sign up for Obamacare at any time with any pre-existing conditions, and the government had to actually pay out. So let's say, which one would you rather do? Would you rather pay $500 a year for a fine and then be able to sign up for Obamacare anytime you want if you get sick? Or would you rather pay $700 a month for your health care insurance? Well, a lot of Americans, not most, but a lot of Americans chose the $500 fine, which means that they were not putting money into the system, which means when they got sick, they went to a hospital. Let's say you broke your leg, right? You go to a hospital, you get to sign up for Obamacare, you pay your $500 fine for not having had it, and then they have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to fix your leg. And as soon as your leg is fixed and your doctor visits are over, they take the cast off, you can go back to the hospital and you can quit Obamacare and go back to that $500 a year coverage. That's what caused healthcare to triple during this time. That's not how insurance is supposed to work, folks. You're not supposed to be able to join insurance with pre-existing conditions and expect the insurance company to cover the pre-existing conditions. That's like if somebody had a car, they got in a wreck, and then they went to Allstate to get insurance to pay for the wreck after the wreck's done. That's not how insurance is supposed to work, and that's why Obamacare was a large failure for the most part. Another thing is they spent billions of dollars for a website to be built for Obamacare, and after a year of working and several $billion spent, they opened the website and it immediately crashed, and they couldn't get people to sign up online for Obamacare. All right, here we go, folks. Which major policy initiative was attempted by the Clintons but accomplished by Obama? Okay, and that would be healthcare reform, right there. Okay, that is the Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare. All right, use the quote to answer the question. The Affordable Care Act's requirement that certain individuals pay a financial penalty for not obtaining health insurance may reasonably be considered a tax. Because the Constitution permits such a tax, it is not our role to forbid it or to pass upon its wisdom or fairness. This quotation is from Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts in 2012, his opinion in the National Federation of Independent Business versus Sebelius. Which statement describes an impact of the court's decision? Okay, so what happened? Because, see, forcing you to buy a product is unconstitutional. And the Republican-controlled Supreme Court were all about that. They were all about saying that Obamacare was unconstitutional. At the last minute, one justice, the Supreme Court, the main justice there, he flipped. He flipped from the Republican side to the Democrat side, and he sided with the Democrats, which legitimized Obamacare and made it legal throughout the land. So what happened because of this court decision?
Teacher, please excuse the interruption. Please check that email and let those track athletes out at this time. Thank you.
Here we go. A signature policy initiative of the President Obama, was upheld and enacted. This allowed Obamacare to be legal after that. Personally, I think John Roberts got paid off, or the Obamas had some dirt on him or something that made him switch. Okay, now we got a couple of things going on. So, back in the 90s, it was illegal to be gay in the military. If you were found to be gay, you would be kicked out. Well, Bill Clinton started a new policy called Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Okay? So as long as you don't tell them you're gay, they're not going to ask if you're gay, and gay people could serve in the military. When Barack Obama comes in, he changes all that, and he says that openly gay individuals can, in fact, serve in the military. And today, Joe Biden has gone even farther than that, saying that transgender people can serve in the military as well. And the big controversy behind that is, if a trans person goes into the military and they want gender reassignment surgery, then the U.S. military, the big debate is whether or not the U.S. military should have to pay for that surgery. The trans person would say that it is a necessary surgery for their mental health, whereas the Republicans would generally say that this person is delusional and this is a cosmetic surgery and we should not pay for cosmetic surgery. I mean, it's like, for instance, if a female goes into the military and she decides that her boobs aren't big enough and she wants bigger boobs, then that would be a cosmetic surgery. It's not a necessary medical surgery, okay? So anyway, it's up to you to decide on how you fall on that one, y'all. Okay, so the war on drugs. We've had the war on drugs in America for a long time, folks, and we failed. Okay, drugs are everywhere. People do drugs all the time. So the war on drugs in 2009, the Obama administration declares that the term is counterproductive since drug addiction can be successfully prevented and treated. Stopping enforcement will increase the availability, making communities more unsafe. Okay, so Barack Obama at this time says we shouldn't be prosecuting people that are drug addicts. We should, instead of throwing them in prison, we should take that money and put them into rehab, which is a pretty good idea. Okay, so here we go. Which statement best explains the primary objections many politicians raised against the term war on drugs? All right. I think this one is the correct one. They think policies surrounding drug use focus too little on prevention. So we should be trying to prevent and also to cure drug addiction through rehab. 2010 in April, we had a massive disaster in the Gulf of Mexico. One of our oil wells, the Deepwater Horizon, blew up in the Gulf of Mexico. It was a massive fire, it killed a bunch of workers, and the hose that goes from the rig down to the ocean floor broke loose, and oil was spewing all over the Gulf of Mexico. Billions and billions of barrels of oil, not just gallons, barrels of oil, are in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's a terrible disaster off the coast of Louisiana. That was one of the things that happened during the Obama administration. BP is forced to pay for the cleanup, and they have to pay billions of dollars to clean up the Gulf of Mexico. Some of that oil is still out there in the Gulf. A lot of it went into the wetlands of Louisiana and destroyed it, unfortunately. All right, foreign policy for Obama. President Obama called for a new beginning involving efforts to improve friendly relations with the Arab world. So there was this big criticism of Obama that his father was a Muslim and he was actually raised as a Muslim for the first, I don't know, 10 years of his life or something like that. He didn't go to like Catholic school, he went to Muslim school and they taught him to, you know, all the things of a Muslim. But Barack Obama claimed to be a Christian, okay, while he was running for president. And he may very well be. But he wanted to be friends with the Muslim world, with the Arab world. So the New START Treaty lessened nuclear arsenals with Russians by 1/3. Okay, that's a good start there. Increasing the U.S. presence in Afghanistan while drawing down forces in Iraq. That's another foreign policy issue. So Barack Obama ended the war in Iraq, and Joe Biden, years later, you know, a decade later, ended the war in Afghanistan in a disastrous move where he pulled everybody out very quickly and he left all of our equipment behind for our enemies to enjoy. Next one, December 2010, started the major upheaval in the Arab world known as the Arab Spring. Basically, what happened was the Arab world was getting sick of these totalitarian dictators, and social media was rising up at the time. We have Twitter, we have YouTube, we have Facebook and all this stuff. And the Arab people used technology to organize protests and to organize a revolution. And I think it was about 11 countries in the Arab world revolted against their kings and in many cases killed and tortured their kings. And then they basically came in with new governments, some good, mostly bad. Most of these new governments were funded by and headed by radical Muslim terrorists. In some cases, like in Libya, we went from a very secular society where nobody was really looking to religion for the laws into a caliphate, which is a religious government where all of your laws are based on the Quran. And so these are the people that throw gay people off of buildings and do unspeakable things to women that I can't even tell you in this video because this is high school. This is terrible things they do to their women. Anyway, May 2011, the U.S. forces raided a compound in Pakistan, causing the death of Osama bin Laden, along with the capture of intelligence information linked to Al-Qaeda. All right, how has increasing... These have nothing to do with Obama, by the way. These are random questions thrown in here. How has increasing cell phone availability and usage impacted businesses in the U.S.? So how has the cell phone impacted businesses? Let's see. It has reduced commercial activity. No, that means less people are buying stuff. That's not happening. It has given employees greater freedom from work stress. Well, I guess they play on their phones. It has enabled people to conduct conference calls, maybe so. It has allowed workers to complete more tasks away from the central office. That is the winner right there, okay? So with our phones, we can now do things that we could never do before. Right now, I'm recording this video on an iPad, which didn't exist before 2007. And so I can actually record a video, put it up on YouTube, and then you can watch it, right? That's a totally different way of teaching that did not exist 20 years ago, okay? So that is the correct answer. All right, 49. In recent decades, a new political progressive movement has grown in popularity. What does the modern-day progressive movement have in common with the progressive movement from the early 20th century? All right, both campaigned against monopolies. Well, that's true, okay? Both advocated for women's suffrage. Women's suffrage has long been decided. Both supported social welfare programs. The old progressives would have not been for welfare. And the direct primary, that's a settled matter. So it's going to be A, folks. They both campaigned to stop monopolies. All right, number 50. As people in the baby boom generation age, reports of workplace discrimination has increased. Employers claim that young workers are more technically up to date and generally less expensive to have on the payroll. Aging employees counter that their career experience is invaluable and well worth the salaries they are paid. which statement is the most reasonable suggestion to make the workplace more productive environment for both older and younger workers, okay? So, how are we going to make everybody happy, the young people and the old people at work? What should we do? All right, let's go through the options. Younger workers should train older workers to use modern technologies in the workplace. Probably not a good idea, okay? Old people are generally stuck in their ways and they don't want to learn the new technology, and they definitely don't want to learn it from a person that's half their age. Okay, older workers can impart their career experiences as mentors to younger workers. Okay, so the older folks can give their experience to the younger workers. Younger workers could act as assistants to the older workers. I don't think young people are going to want to do that one. You know, go get my coffee. You know, that's not going to be the way it goes. Older workers can agree to salary cuts. Not going to happen, folks. The old people have put in their time, and they deserve the money that they are paid. That is the chapter, folks. We are done. Good luck on the test.